great. I use it. Yeah, it's been a couple of years now that I've been doing that more. Just like, all right, yeah, because once you discover, it's like, oh, why haven't I been doing this all along? This is so much easier for anything with text. Even like I find like making labels or things are easier in InDesign. Making labels or going to work at the moment, so I'm not mad at them. But never missed a whole lot, but yeah, I don't know.
I might go back and check them out one day, but it's just like the amount of content has slowed down, so it's cool. Anyway, um, welcome back to another episode of the welcome back to another episode of the IC Pixels podcast. You're joining us live, already recording for another episode. Um, Thanks for listening. This is episode number 52, I think.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So today, um, we want to talk a little bit about logo design. So recently, I know this happened a while back, but I just found out about it because I don't stay in the news, logo
You don't have
design news.
your finger to the pulse of what's happening in
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the
of the
state
culture.
the state of the design culture or
Oh,
whatever,
ooh, we should make that show.
the state of design culture. But yeah, so Staples changed their logo. So I found out about it because I had to go on their website for something, and I noticed like I was clicking through parts of their site and noticed some of it had like slightly different branding on it, and then I noticed their logo had changed, and I was like, wow, that is trash. Um, I I think their old logo was better. I'll say that. um, so they've changed their logo, so it's just like it's the shape of a staple, but it's like an unused staple. So it kind of looks like a desk or a letter N, or yeah, a desk, or like a bracket, like for your
A
keyboard.
modern desk. I'll
Yeah,
give them
very
that.
modern desk. But I looked at I was reading up about like the design process or whatever they thought was a good idea, and it's just I don't know. I don't think it looks good because the my concern with it is it's easily could be confused as just a thing like, oh, that was your logo. I thought that was just like a mark you made on the. It
Yeah,
could
I mean,
blend with other stuff.
I think it only works because their name is such an obvious thing.
Hmm.
It's like it's such an obvious object. I mean, if their name, the name of the company was like, I don't know, what's the name? What's a random name of a company?
Paper clips.
Well, no, just a random. Let's say Boggle. If that was the name of your company,
Hmm.
but you're all about office supplies, and you put that there, I'd be like, I wouldn't understand what that meant. The
Yeah, I could say like as soon as I saw it, it was obvious what it was for. I mean, like
yeah,
how they came up with that. However, it's still to me, it's not obvious. It's not clearly like a design element. It's not a strong design element. I'll say that.
yeah,
It's not like something I can like. Oh, okay, we'll just put this here. Like like we talked a few episodes ago. We talked about like Slack's new logo and how it had some things that you could actually use as design elements in like a repeated pattern or whatever. But
yeah.
Staples logo, I could see how you could use it, and so they have some examples on this website I was looking at.
I
But
would like the chair behind it.
yeah,
That's kind of cool, but yeah, I see what you mean. It's kind of like,
it's just a bracket.
yeah, and it doesn't have any, I would say, I guess the staple doesn't have any personality to it.
Yeah,
Because before it had, it being bent, it's like, oh, okay, that's what it had a little bit of personality to it.
hmm
Now it's like a shape next to, I mean, and then the font they have now doesn't make me feel anything either. So it's just two things next to each other that,
So we'll put a link to this article in the article I just sent you while we were recording in the show notes. But they're actually the Canadian version of the Staples logo is way better in my opinion. Because they have
Right.
the two staples, like they have two staples side by side. It's kind of like a bracket, basically. Um, and
Oh, that whole thing with the red. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. I actually like that one better.
and it looks better
Yeah.
because the font is better, in my opinion. Like the
Mm-hmm.
lowercase, all lowercase, and I don't know, it's just better. So I thought that was interesting that they changed it. I'm curious how much they paid someone to do that because
Yeah.
I would, yeah, it's pretty lame in my opinion.
I mean, it. You know, I will say. I mean, it has the potential to grow on me.
Hmm.
Um, when it's presented as like, 'cause they have this video of this guy, and it's just like a red circle with a staple in it. Then it's more interesting to me.
Hmm.
But just in the logo the way it is, it doesn't feel interesting to me at all. I don't know. It has a potential. It may grow on me a little bit. I don't know. But I do. I just wish like the staple had like a little,
A little something to it.
yeah, just a little personality to it. I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. Or maybe they could have made it like sharp or something like that at the end. Just something to give me a little bit more than just a shape.
Well, that's one of those things. Like as a designer, I want to make it clear. Like I want people to see like when they look at something I designed, not
It's like,
just
oh, you got to
designers.
use
Yeah,
Illustrator.
like oh, he didn't just take the symbol that's next to the P and turn it on the side. Like he did more than that.
Yeah.
He did more than just like press one character,
Yeah.
flip, rotate horizontally or whatever it is, rotate uh, 90 degrees or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I want
I
to,
mean,
even if it's like subtle things, I want to make it look like that so that when you look at it, you're like, oh, okay, he did design this. He didn't just like spend 5 minutes.
yeah.
Like,
I
okay,
mean,
uh,
I would say this. I understand that simple is hard.
mm-hmm.
You know, that can be difficult to achieve, like creating something that's simple that works. But on the other hand, sometimes I feel like things are designed by people that know how to write papers well. And by that I mean what they did wasn't that amazing, but they know how to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
So you feel good about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. That's just my thought. They may know how to sell it better than they knew how to design it.
Yeah, I'll say like in terms of their branding that I've seen in the past, they were pretty good. So they may be able to do well with this. I don't know, but I just don't think it's an amazing thing because to me, I don't feel like it stands alone very well. Because that's the other thing, you want your
Yeah,
logo to
it's
be able to stand alone without if you
yeah.
don't have wording to go with it, and just that in a circle is kind of plain.
Yeah, it looks like a frowny face or something. Yeah.
Well, I saw somebody in the comments of one of these articles. They had a picture of Hulk Hogan with they stole the logo from Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, that's what that looks like. Yeah. I don't know. Well, I saw you. Well, you sent me another link. We are both looking at about logo trends for 2019, and like we were saying right before we started recording, it doesn't look like things have changed that much.
Well, I don't think
Um,
so. My personal opinion, I don't look at too many of those articles because a lot of times they say the same stuff, and a lot of logos they reference are not necessarily
good.
real logos for like real companies.
Oh
Sometimes
yeah,
they're like referencing stuff from like some design students' work or whatever. Not that there's a problem, but a lot of times like major
yeah. But it's like,
companies,
did this really work in the real
yeah,
world,
like
or
major
this is just something you came up
successful
with?
companies aren't changing their logo every year to catch up with the trends or whatever. Of course,
No.
trends are moving a little slowly. It's just like with your clothes. Like if you were to change your dress every year to match up whatever the new trends are, you're gonna spend a whole lot of money. And the same thing I would recommend as a for a company who has a logo. You don't need to change your logo just because the trend is going different. You can make minor tweaks and stuff like that, just like Staples. Well, not like Staples, but if you look at a lot of companies' logos over time, like Google, they went from a serif font and they've gone now to a sans serif, but they kept their colors and all that stuff the same. So I would say um, definitely take the opportunity to look at the trends or whatever where things are going on a macro scale, not on like don't look every year and feel the need to contact your designer and change something. But if things are trending a certain way, you can make gradual changes to your brand. But yeah.
Yeah. Because you may have elements that make you feel dated. I
Hmm.
know company I worked for, there were things like that. And I was like, all right, well, we got to get rid of this because that's old technology that's in our logo. And that looks kind of,
Yeah.
or just an old style. Like, it's like, all right, well, that's got to go now. So,
Well, I think that's another thing you got to
um,
think about is like trying to make your logo somewhat timeless. Of course, like drop shadows were cool like in the early 2000s and stuff like that.
yeah.
But like
Well, that's what
including
concerns me
obvious
about the,
technology things in your logo, like a rotary phone or something like that.
yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, unless you're, I mean, there's a way to flip
Hmm.
that, but yeah, I don't know that. Yeah, you have to work with that. But I would say, I mean, because I look at the like the gradients and all the like transparencies people do nowadays. That's an example of something that's not going to last.
Yeah.
I don't think. And I worry about logos because I sometimes I feel like am I just being kind of old school or something like that, by not following that trend of doing the transparency logos and stuff like that,
You're just a
or
crotchety
what? I
old
mean, I just
designer.
I know, but I just like I'm just like that's not going. What happens when that phase goes out and your logo is just two
Hmm.
circles that are, like cross over each other? Like, how do you turn that into any? I mean, as a designer, of course, you can figure it out, but like you're kind of limiting yourself.
Well, that's one thing I would say is like it's cool to be able to have your logo so that it can translate in those ways, like the semi-flat logos, like the Gmail logo when it's first loading up and stuff like that. It looks three-dimensional, but they have a version of it that's 100% flat too, I'm certain. And then the same thing with like
Yeah,
gradient logos. You don't want that to be your if you're getting a logo design, you don't want that to be the only version you get. You want to get a flat version as well. And then
yeah,
if the trend calls for popping out the gradient, it's easy to do, but don't make that your only logo.
yeah. Well, yeah, because I see some logos and it's like they're not a unique shape. It's just a gradient or something like that that makes them unique. So you lose that, then you just got a shape.
Right.
You just got a little
Right.
cloud with nothing else going on, and it's like, well, that's not, yeah, that's not useful. So I don't know. I mean, that maybe in a way that's more of a older way of thinking about things, but also I see the merit in it. It's like, well, you know, I just go back to my fundamentals. Is this going to work in black
Yeah.
and white? If no, then we need to do something
Yeah.
else. I mean, you can do all that, the gradients and all that kind of stuff, but first it needs to be work flat. Because I mean, yeah, you can use some of those elements to cheat it.
Well, I'll say the other thing that I've noticed when looking through some of the stuff they're talking about, they talk about like some of the trends that are mentioned. And well, two things. I've looked at these periodically, and I've looked at them maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and a lot of the stuff they're saying are trends now were trends then. So it's not like a
Yeah,
lot has changed. So it's changes are gradual. But they talk about like using geometrical shapes, um, using logos with just a single image, and like hand drawn logos and things like that. I feel like those things are pretty much always going to work for the most part,
yeah,
no matter what is popular at the time. Those things they translate. If you do a good logo and it translates, it's going to work. So you don't need to
yeah,
rework everything every time something happens. Um, some of the other things that you'll see in these things are like retro 80s style logos and using neon colors and all that type of stuff. Yeah, some of those are cool now, but I think if you're designing for someone, you really have to take into account their audience and who they're advertising to and how long they want to be able to use this logo or whatever it is that you're designing. Because a lot of this applies not just to logo design, but just design in general. Like there's a lot of 80s theme
yeah,
stuff going on now.
yeah. I mean, well, yeah, because once you go into trends like that, then yeah, that's you can kind of pigeonhole yourself unless it's like your company is that's their whole vibe
Hmm.
is that. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, and I was thinking about it. Like, I wonder why, if part of the reason why we haven't seen drastic changes in like logo trends is because things are so universal nowadays. Like, you can see a million different styles for different things right
Hmm.
now. Um, and I wonder if that's because of, the internet and access to our ability to see everything. So it kind of keeps certain things from changing very quickly because nothing is new to us anymore.
Well,
Does that
yeah,
make
yeah.
sense?
I mean, you can make something at home tonight, and everybody can see it tomorrow. So,
Kind of. I mean, that may not be a good example, but like I was thinking, like like everyone's getting like those like Chinese
hmm
symbol tattoos. It's like now nothing is almost like how people will say like, oh well, you used to be able to tell, rappers from the South versus the rappers from the North, and or from the West and stuff like that, where it's like a lot of things have kind of
hmm
merged where you can't always
well, things
tell.
become more homogenous because you can't really hide. Like everyone, everything's on display. Everyone shares everything. So, as soon as I
Yeah,
do something, I want to share it, and therefore, there's no there's no surprise. Like it's not like I gotta
yeah.
go to Japan to see the logo for some Japanese company. Nope. Google the company name and logo, and I found it.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, no, they're not. I mean, it's just something I don't know or whatever. But yeah, they're not doing something over there that's like, oh, wow, that's a new, unheard of design, thought process,
Right.
So, I mean, that may be why things have kind of changed slowly. Because I mean, I know there's been a shift in style over the years. I've witnessed it, but I can't put my finger on exactly when that happened or what causes things to stop change in style. I mean, the same with the way people dress and things like that. It's like you can't always put your
hmm
finger on it. It's like, wait, when did
I think if you don't
you
pay
know?
attention,
It's
you
like,
won't see it. But most of the changes I feel like are gradual. And I think I know we've talked about it in the past, but the internet has definitely influenced some of the change, in my opinion, because you can have a logo and it doesn't ever need to be printed on anything.
yeah, that's true. Because of I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, it kind of depends on, but I mean, I don't know. That may be changing because a lot of people are trying to do like, I mean, I've seen stuff. I haven't looked at it a whole lot, but there are online stores that are trying to go for
hmm
brick and mortar now. And, so I don't know. I think and some of that may change or, everybody wants to put it on their t-shirt or something like that. I mean, people are always going to want to put their logo on something that's
hmm
physical.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, because I haven't come across somebody who's like, no, we'll never print this. Like what? Yeah, so I don't know. I guess something else. I mean, we're gonna have to have our episode where we really break down the political logos. But one in logo news, I saw people. I think it was one of those fake outrage things. Somebody was trying to get an article off, trying to get a story going, but it didn't really. I don't know. I heard about another like graphic design group that I'm part of, but about
hmm
Joe Biden's logo and like it's so the E just looks like lines. It's like stylized lines coming out of the D, um, which I think looks fine. But somebody, was trying to do a deep dive and they tried to make it this animation on it. And they were like, "Oh, so the E is red." And you can Google this, and we'll put it in the show notes. But it's like, "Oh, this is a hand, and
It's
it's
reaching out to grope.
because he got caught red-handed when he was, open your third eye." It was one of those things. It was just like, what? What do you? No, that's nobody else saw that. Um, I actually think it's not a bad logo
Yeah, I
at
don't
all.
think it's terrible. So he does have a version with where it's Joe with the E with the same thing, and
Hmm.
apparently they had a problem. Apparently people had a problem with that one, but either way, I don't think it's bad.
That's like saying, I mean, it's kind of like this nowadays on the internet. Something exists. Somebody on the internet has a problem with it. So, I don't know. It's a weird thing.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to come back to this because we're definitely gonna have a breakdown of the logos for the election like we did for the last election 4 years ago. That's crazy. It's 4 years ago, but yeah, I think that's one of those things. Everyone's gonna see something and have a problem with it. I don't see any particular issue. It's not like Joe Biden it doesn't say Joe Biden for president and inappropriate touching or anything like that. So
Yeah, I don't know. There's people that live to find something to talk about. So something to write an article about, or something that will get some kind of clicks because So I don't know. I like skimmed over the article about it and was like, ugh, I don't know. I didn't have time for that. So so have you started using any new tools recently?
in terms of design, no. Uh, um, I know a while back we talked about using that one mock-up tool from Adobe. The name, yeah, Adobe XD. I haven't used
XD?
it recently. Recently, I've mainly been working on stuff with Photoshop and Illustrator, and then editing a bunch of podcasts with Audition. I actually want to learn more Audition so I can get faster at that. Oh, and well, the other thing, speaking of workflow,
Mm.
so I had to design several flyers for people, and sometimes people want like I had to design one where it's oops a schedule for an event, and they wanted a lot of words on it. So back in the day, I would have opened Photoshop and laid out all that text in Photoshop the hard way, because it was just like paragraphs of text or like a list of things. But and I know better than doing it that way, but that's just how I used to always do it that way before I um started paying for legal copies of Adobe products. And it was like, I don't feel like trying to find a crack for InDesign or whatever. So anyway, I have InDesign now. So the couple things I worked on in the past week, maybe I'll post a picture of them. I instead just used InDesign to do all the text layout. So I just basically designed a simple background and like a header in Photoshop, and then I went into InDesign to do all my text layout and font styles and all that stuff. And I felt like that made it so much faster because Photoshop is trash in terms of like laying out text. It's okay for like short text, but like
Yeah,
if I had a lot of text and
that's
need
too
to move
much
it
work.
around and
Yeah,
format it exactly the same, InDesign is the plug for that.
yeah.
So I did that, and so much easier. Because there's times when one time I was designing something for somebody. This was maybe 6, 7 years ago, and bunch of text on it. It was like a flyer. It didn't. Well, let's say it didn't have that much text, but it had a paragraph, a good amount of text. And for some reason, I had messed something up and rasterized a layer with a typo on it. And then they came back and wanted to change something. I was like, crap, I don't want
You
to
gotta.
remake this whole
Oh
thing.
goodness.
And so I went in and like erased individual words out of that text layer and retyped them on a layer on top of it, sent it back to them. More changes. So then I had to do that again, and it was literally the worst. And basically it was a non-profitable job for me at that point because I never had to remake it, but I had to do a bunch of like manual text manipulation on individual layers. So I had a layer with most of the text on it that was rasterized, and then I had another layer with other text on it that I needed to change because I was like, oh, I can just change it real quick, and then they hit me back for more changes, and that's when the problem started. So anyway, long story short, InDesign. So I want to make sure that I'm using the tools appropriately
No.
and not just using them the wrong way.
No, InDesign is great. I use it. Yeah, it's been a couple of years now that I've been doing that more. Just like, all right, yeah, because once you discover, it's like, oh, why haven't I been doing this all along? This is so
Hmm.
much easier for anything with text. Even like I find like making labels or things are easier in InDesign, and there's a lot of stuff that's easier with using InDesign.
So
Especially,
that's something I've noticed. Like, you have to overcome that fear or that laziness of like, I don't want to learn how to use the right tool. I just want to use the tool I'm comfortable with.
yeah.
Because the tool I'm comfortable with is Photoshop. Well, I'm comfortable with InDesign now, but I can say like at the time when I was going through these struggles, the tool I was comfortable with was Photoshop. So I was like, I can just whip this up in Photoshop. But I should have instead taken time to like Google, hey, how do I do bullets in InDesign? Because it's really
Oh,
simple.
you sitting there doing man. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because like bullets and numbering and stuff in Photoshop, no fun.
Yeah.
Well, if they need to change, like you could just manually type them in but it's not fun. So, um, I think that's an important thing to learn. Is like just learn the right tool for the job and use the right tool. Because Illustrator has the same issue too. Because I used to design stuff in Illustrator.
Mm.
I used to do text layout in Illustrator. I don't remember why I was doing it that way. Well, okay, I do remember. It was because they told me I was doing an internship and they told me like we need this done in Illustrator. So I was like, okay, Illustrator.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a bunch of text layout in Illustrator and I'm like, wait a minute, this can't be the right way. But again, this was probably like 10 years ago or more.
Yeah. Well,
and at the time, InDesign wasn't that great.
well, and now all those programs play well, a little bit better together. You can easily
Yeah.
move one thing from another. So, like, yeah, any kind of business cards or anything like that, I'm doing it in InDesign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so I used to use before I got into InDesign, I used to use Quark. I don't even know if that's still a thing, but yeah, I used to use Quark Express. But yeah, I think yeah. Now that they work well together, it's so much easier because now I open InDesign, open Photoshop,
Yeah.
throw my background together, put it on there, do my text. If I need to tweak the background, just tweak it, save it, and it's automatically updated. Good to go.
And they have all those cloud, you can save stuff. I don't really use that often, but I know it's there, which I'm sure makes things, can make things pretty quick when everything's in the cloud and cloud documents and blah, 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 and et cetera, et cetera. But, I don't know. I think it's important to update your tools, but, something I just started kind of playing around with today is called ClickFunnels.
Mm-hmm.
You heard of that before?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So, it's kind of cool. I mean, 'cause you can make landing pages really quick.
That's an Adobe thing?
No, it's a website. I mean, you can get like a payment plan or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's you basically it's a website, and basically you can create little mini websites for people really quick, or for
Mm-hmm.
yourself, and you want to create like a landing page without having to do it on a website, or where somebody they need to link something to they're doing ads and they need to link something to a landing page that doesn't have a whole lot of exits, so they don't get lost clicking around your site or anything like that. And it's like stupidly easy to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can do A/B testing and all kinds of stuff. So that's something I just started using today. I was just checking that out. It's kind of cool. They have like an affiliates program and all that kind of stuff.
So if you use the coupon code Anthony, you get 20% off?
I'll give you a link. I'll put a link in there. But no, well, I'm not signed up for it. They signed up for it at my job, and I don't know. But I see how it can be very useful for a freelancer if you wanted to have a tool that you can put stuff up really quick for people.
Yeah, so I've used MailChimp has a landing page builder tool as well within it. I've used theirs, and then I've used one within WordPress to build a landing page for someone. Yeah, they're easy to build. It's easier than like trying to. So one person I was working with, they had a WordPress website, and they were trying to set up a landing page, and it's like, all right, we could do it this way, but there's tools that are built to do this that actually make it better. Because I don't mind. I used to be the person that was all about shoehorning WordPress's capabilities into all types of things it wasn't meant to do. I built sites. I'm trying to think of a good example, but I built a lot of sites with WordPress that probably shouldn't have been built with WordPress. They worked okay, but it was like when plugin needed to be updated or WordPress was updated, the whole thing could potentially go down, and I'm getting panic calls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say familiarize yourself with all, Squarespace, Wix, all of those kind of things. I mean, because, they make it really easy, which makes your job as a freelancer easier, because people still don't want to do it themselves. They can. It's getting easier and easier for them to do it, but they still don't really want to do it themselves.
Have you ever used Squarespace?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe we can talk about this at some other point, but we'll talk about it now for a little bit. I used Squarespace a few years ago, and then I used it again like last month on a project I was working on. It's almost too easy. Like it was like refreshing to use something that easy, because I had been working on a site for an annoying client in WordPress, and then I had to do something in Squarespace, and I was like, oh, this is like the in terms of like laying out stuff on the page and stuff like that. Once I figured out how to do it, took a little bit, but it wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
Uh, I was like, okay, I might need to use Squarespace for some more sites like this because this is very, very easy to put together,
Yeah.
and it gives you that that trendy web look that everyone wants without
Yeah.
all the confusion and complications of WordPress. Of course, WordPress has gotten better, I will say.
Yeah, they've adapted with their new,
Their new
it's
page
annoying
layout
if
thing.
you already have a site, but if
Hmm.
you're starting a new site now on the new Gutenberg and all that, then cool. If you're
Yeah.
starting fresh for somebody, then it won't really be a problem. But yeah, no, I mean, for me, first time I used Squarespace, it was like, wait, it was too ezy. I was confused because I was like, wait, what?
I just drag this
Wait,
over here.
that's it? It's confusing. But I don't know. I mean, but I don't know. But I mean, yeah, learning all of those and knowing when to use them, and and then that ClickFunnels thing, I would definitely check that out. It's kind of interesting. Because it uses one of those type builders where you can just drag things into place, and they have all these templates you can use. But yeah, so much easier, especially when depending on where you work or something like that. If the actual website is restricted for security reasons or things like that, but you just need to set up an ad campaign and you don't want to talk to IT, then maybe a good solution.
Hmm. Well, I think
So
that's where, like, of course, as a designer, I'm like, oh, I never use Squarespace. That's for peasants.
yeah,
But I think as a designer, um, and someone who also knows like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all that type of stuff, then it gives you the ability. Squarespace and I mean even WordPress and other tools like that. Like I've met people that are like, oh, I only code sites from scratch using HTML. Like, okay, cool, but I'm gonna use this thing that makes it a whole lot easier for me. And
yeah,
then since I know how to do the code part, I can just throw a little sauce on there to make it where it doesn't look like what everyone else did.
yeah. I find this good that we both are like that. We have the understanding of the development side to a certain point. But like I know for myself, it's like I'm much more of a designer. Like I can speak the language enough that I can communicate with the developer,
Hmm.
but I would much rather just design, and I don't need to feel threatened because I can't do everything.
Hmm.
Because if I'm really good at designing, then you know, because the developers aren't designers a lot of times,
Nope.
and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of times we get stuck in this thing where we feel like we have to do everything and be everything, where it's like, no, you don't. You can be really good at this thing and
That
know how
is
to
correct.
talk to other people, and that creates value. If you know how to visualize a thing, you become a composer, you know, a visual composer. You see what I did there?
Yeah, you said something corny.
Oh, okay. A little WordPress joke for those in the biz, as they call it,
In
the
the
biz.
industry, I'm known as a visual composer. I have seen people with stuff like that on their resume. Like, really? But all you know is Photoshop?
Yeah. Uh,
Well, it's been great. Um, check out the links in the description if you want to check out Joe Biden's logo or the Staples logo and the articles we referred to. Um, stay tuned because in the next few weeks, we're probably going to come out with an episode talking about all the presidential logos for all the 20 something candidates who have announced and how bad they are or how good they are
mhm.
and who we would consider voting for based strictly on the design of their logo.
Yeah.
Um, any other thing we need to promote? Um,
Um. No. You see Endgame?
in,
Probably not.
nah, not yet. I was
No.
gonna watch it tonight, but someone wanted to record a podcast. So,
What?
wah, 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 wah.
You weren't gonna watch. The thing is 3 hours long. You weren't about to watch it tonight.
No, not like after recording the podcast, but I was gonna start earlier. But I'll probably try and watch it tomorrow.
You're gonna start earlier. Wait, are you going or you just?
We don't need to get into details about how or where I'm going to watch it.
Oh.
I thought about going. We'll work that out later. But
It's. I would say it's one worth going
mhm.
and appreciating it on a large screen.
Okay. I think I can find a large screen, or on which to watch
Oh, okay. You got the
it.
projector working?
Oh yeah, I did. But yeah, I was actually planning to go out and watch it for real though.
Oh, okay.
And then I heard some big Game of Thrones thing happen, but I haven't watched that ever.
Oh,
So
yeah.
um,
Oh, well.
I have to find somewhere free to watch it in order to catch up to know what happened. But apparently, not that many people died that they wanted to die. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
the summary that I got from somebody. Has winter arrived, or is it winter still coming?
Winter came. Yeah. And now it's gone.
Oh, that was quick. So it's spring. It's spring out here.
In a way.
Okay. All right. Well, really, I've never seen the show, so I honestly don't care that much. But now that winter came, it's like I can't say winter's coming to people that know about that show.
Yeah, they killed the guy that brought winter.
What? How you gonna be threatening
Yeah.
winter for so long, and then it comes and you get killed?
They call winter slipping.
Oh, okay. That's never good.
Black ice. Get it?
I know there's no black guys in Game of Thrones.
No, they are black people.
Really?
At least two. So,
All right, so that's our Game of Thrones summary for this week. If you, we're gonna start a new podcast just about Game of Thrones. I'm not serious about that either.
yeah.
Check out our shop on our website or on Threadless, alienmuffin.threadless.com. Got shirts and stuff. We need to promote it more. So we're gonna do that one day, but that doesn't stop you from purchasing some of our merchandise. It's nice stuff. It looks nice. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back in a while.